Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another edition of Facebook and YouTube Live here at Hot Shot Secret. Been a little bit.
Yep, been a while.
Kyle Fisher here with
Logan,
from
the lab, Hot Shot Secret.
the lab. The lab. Yeah, we're gonna do a little science today.
Yes, sir.
We like our science here. So, welcome in again. Thanks for joining. Today we are going to be talking about diesel fuel gelling because 'tis the season. And ironically, we got our first snow today.
Yes, sir.
And so it is a perfect time to talk about this. It's a problem that we don't want to ever have. But so we're going to talk about how to prevent it or also how to reverse it.
Yes, sir.
And I'll give a quick cue that check out Diesel Podcast next week. We're going to have a little episode on there, kind of with the same topic, too.
Cool.
So we're also going to be announcing a new product today. Kind of. A new version of a product. So stay tuned for that. I think actually a lot of people are excited about this. So very cool new product that a lot of people are going to be purchasing here soon. So stay tuned to the end. And as always, feel free to send in your questions and comments. We'll answer them throughout the show. We're monitoring them here. So hopefully we can keep up on that. Also want to know where you're watching from. It's always one of our big things. And hopefully you're in a warmer climate than we are right now.
Yep.
But you do a product giveaway too?
Yep. Today we're doing a 1 quart, 32-ounce bottle giveaway of Diesel Winter Rescue.
Rescue, right here.
Yep. So we're live on YouTube and Facebook. So if you leave a comment, you'll be entered into that giveaway. So be sure to leave a comment, like, favorite, and subscribe.
So we're just gonna randomly select somebody who comments. Is that the game?
Yep.
You gonna stay silent over there off camera? Okay. I'm gonna drag in one of our newer people here soon. She's like, no. But yeah, comment down below. We're gonna pick somebody at the end and give them a bottle of Rescue, so they hopefully never have to use it, but maybe help out a friend that's in a jam and might need it. So let's get started. Let's get into this winter fuel. We've talked about it for years, and I always say this time of year is the most important because normally we see the worst problems at the very beginning of the winter and at the end of the winter because you usually get that first cold snap you're not ready for, haven't treated the fuel yet, or vice versa on the back end, springtime. It always starts to warm up and you get that spring fever. Then all of a sudden, especially here in Ohio, we always have one last cold snap that gets people. So generally in the middle of winter, people are pretty knowledgeable and treating their fuel a little bit, but I like to switch over in October. Is when I changed from regular EDT to EDT plus winter defense. But a lot of people just kind of wait for the first cold snap, and it's here, folks. I think we even have some cold weather down south right now, right? And they always get really screwed. I remember last year Texas got hit, and
it was bad.
And they don't have any gel down there or anything. So, let's talk about some of the cold weather issues with diesel fuel. Why don't you start off from the top and kind of why is we might have some new diesel owners out there. Why do we need to treat diesel fuel? Like what is different from gasoline that they don't do anything when it gets cold versus diesel? Why is diesel a problem?
So diesel fuel contains something called paraffinic wax. Paraffins are what make up a decent Group 2 engine oil, conventional. They don't get distilled out, or rather the lighter distillates don't separate from the paraffinic wax in diesel fuel. And you get these wax crystals that are left behind, and at room temperature or anything like that, you don't really see them. But right around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll start to see that the bottle gets a little cloudy, the diesel fuel gets a little cloudy.
Which is we call the cloud
point. Exactly.
It's actually a scientific measurement of when that fuel starts to lose its clarity, and that's actually those wax starting to crystallize and starting to, and it's kind of like a crystal. It's kind of like a snowflake. They start to kind of grow, and the fingers start to get wet, and they start to stick together, and ultimately, when that happens, and you get too much of that, those sticky buildups of that wax can, lock up all that fuel, freeze it all up, or commonly what we see is it starts to hit that fuel filter, and it can't make it through. I don't know if we're going to have some images that we throw up here later, but we've shown a lot of some of the nasty gel fuel filters.
yeah.
It just looks like they're covered in snot. I mean, it's just nasty stuff. And of course, once that filter gets clogged up, there's no more fuel flow. And pretty sure you need fuel to run the engine.
Yep.
So that's a
I'd
big
say so.
problem. That's a big problem. One of the other things that happens that a lot of people don't think about in the winter with quote unquote gelling up or stopping the fuel flow, it is not always wax and fuel related.
No.
Water.
No. Yep.
And this is becoming a bigger problem, I think, now than in the past because we're seeing more water in the fuel lately. Like we do a lot of analysis here, and I think it's something that we just are seeing more common lately. And we believe, I'll defer to the lab, but a lot of it's coming from the more bio that they're using in the fuel now.
Yeah.
Bio is it's like a sponge for moisture. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the water issues, diesels always have had water issues. That's why they have water separators on them and stuff. But with the more bio in the fuel, it's attracting more moisture. And now if you've got water in the fuel, that water can freeze just like the wax in the fuel.
Yeah, and you mentioned bio, which is a good point to bring up because it's starting to be mandated even at a percentage.
Right.
Bio itself is even worse for freezing up compared to your typical petroleum diesel. That stuff will freeze at potentially 20 degrees Fahrenheit on its own. So yeah, it's not to mention it draws even more moisture being hygroscopic. So yeah, bio is a big problem.
And just as that water gets in there, it does what you think it does. Water freezes at 32 degrees, and
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got ways of lowering that freezing point. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that sometimes that clogging problem, when we think you're gelled up, it's literally you've iced up. It's not even just the gel;
Yeah.
you've iced up the system. And something unique about that, which I think we're going to get into on the rescue side of things, like if you are in this jam where it actually happens, it's a different thing of de-icing as it is de-gelling.
It is, yeah.
And so we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. What are the impacts of having gelling? Like what's the list of stuff that happens on the bad end of that?
Well, when it comes to gelling, first off, let's say before you have even gelled up, you're starting to hit that cloud point. The wax is first starting to form. Your fuel pump has to work extra. Your lift pump has to work extra to move the higher viscosity fluid that's going through. So that's putting extra strain on all of your fuel components. Not to mention, let's say water and diesel fuel don't mix, obviously. So that water can freeze in the tank or potentially freeze in the line on its way to the water fuel separator, which then can cause potentially even fuel line snapping.
Right.
And then obviously the first one would be gelling up where you're depriving the engine of fuel, which means that once it has been de-iced, you use something like diesel winter rescue, then you have to prime the fuel system again.
Right.
So some
Which I've done
don't-
before.
Yeah, it's not fun. It takes a while.
Not fun.
You're sitting out there in the cold weather just waiting for this system to go. But other than that, low fuel economy is another thing.
Now, why is a low fuel economy? Where is that coming from?
Just the system having to fight the viscosity again.
Gotcha.
You're not getting enough fuel to the system as you're starting to gel up, and then even potentially you could get overheating or increased wear because the diesel fuel is also acting as a lubricant. So if you're depriving the system of that, now you're getting wear.
Right. So we have a little demonstration to do.
I do, yes.
Did you get it ready in time?
I hope so. We'll see how it turns out. It looked good when I had it ready.
So what are we going to do? So why don't you explain our little experiment
Will
before we dive in?
So right now what I have prepared is a diesel fuel sample that is completely untreated just from the gas station.
So from a local pump? It's not,
from a local
it's not
pump.
a refinery. It's actually just something that anybody could...
something you'd put in your truck. I have that in a cooler right now with dry ice that is at -5 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you remember before, I said the cloud point is roughly 15 to 10 degrees positive
Right.
Fahrenheit. So you go below that, you're in a gray area of potentially gelling up.
And thanks for using Fahrenheit, by the way.
Yeah.
These guys like to work in Celsius, and I'm confused.
So with that, I also have a sample that is treated with our everyday diesel treatment plus winter defense. That's not gelled up at all. I'll show that. But that's
and they're
treated
both
at
at the same temperature,
both at
obviously.
the same temperature right now. And then I also have a pure sample of Diesel Winter Rescue in there that I'm going to introduce to the fully frozen bottle of untreated diesel fuel to show you that Diesel Winter Rescue at -5, as well as
Oh, the rescue itself, the product is frozen
yeah.
now?
So in
Ah,
case
I've
you
never
left
seen
it in
that.
your toolbox or your truck bed, we
Ah.
want to show that this product doesn't freeze.
All right, so
I have
one
that
sample of untreated fuel,
Mhm.
which I assume is going to be pretty frozen.
Yeah.
One sample of fuel that's been treated with EDT plus Winter Defense,
Yes.
which I assume better not be frozen.
Yeah.
And then we're going to try the frozen rescue product
Yeah.
on the frozen untreated fuel to see if it
Yes.
thaws it.
The frozen rescue product will not be frozen solid at all. That's good down to -60.
Yeah, I mean
Fahrenheit.
frozen. I meant
Yeah.
cold,
Exactly.
-5 degree. Right.
Yeah. So I will grab this.
You just gonna pull it over to the front of the table, probably is best. You can put it right up here.
So here is our diesel fuel sample, untreated diesel fuel, and you can see it's pretty solid at the bottom.
Yeah. Yummy.
And it's kind of chunks floating around as well. So let me grab the treated EDT. You can see there is some separation.
Cloud point.
That's cloud point. So it's still fully
But it's
flowing.
still, yeah, full liquid. I don't know how well this is showing up on the screen.
Oh, got a little bit of drips.
Ah, I can smell that. Somebody didn't tighten this
So
up.
what I'm going to grab now. This is the Diesel Winter Rescue. Completely unfrozen, not even
Awesome.
at the cloud point, nothing like that. So I will grab this and show you again.
Oh, I see why you froze it now.
Yep, you can see
Because
the
you
chunks
don't
there.
want people think we're putting warm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't
so
be
it's the same.
representative.
They're both -5 degrees.
Yes. So I will just add this to the headroom of the bottle. And this is pretty representative of a fuel filter because you're going to dump out about half the fuel filter, put in
Right.
Diesel Winter Rescue. for a
Half
gelling
fuel,
event.
half rescue.
Exactly, yes.
So like a 50-50 mix.
Fill it up there. And then usually with the filter, you would grab it off, swirl it around a little bit. So I'm just going to tip this up. And you can see that
It's
the
already,
cloud point is already leaving.
Yeah.
And it's fully solubilized now. Just got a little bit of chunk floating up at the top.
Wow, that was quick. I had that question recently too. How quickly does this react? And I'm thinking with a regular, like a bottle that you might have inside the truck, but that was a -5 degree bottle, and that was pretty much instant. Or that is, yeah. And now you can start your truck.
Exactly.
Oh, science. I love the gangster test too, man. It's so easy to do it that way.
Yeah, so I had to put holes in here so the bottle wouldn't shrink with the cold.
Oh, that's why we're leaking diesel
Yep.
fuel all over the room. Gotcha. Well, cool. Let's see if we have any questions in here. If you guys have anything to ask. Jared Ring says, "What's up? What's up, buddy?" For those of you that did make it out to SEMA, we had Jared's beautiful Cadillac in the booth, and really appreciate Jared coming out to Vegas to show that thing off. And is that apple juice? I thought he had it. Yeah, it's apple juice. It's not EDT. It's not the fancy stuff. It's some Costco stuff. Manuel Yoder's in there. Hi from Belvedere, Tennessee. Catch that man in the Hot Shot Secret booth at PRI signing some autographs as an Outlaw Diesel Super Series champion this year. So shout out to Mr. Yoder there. Courtney Lee loves a great giveaway. We are giving some stuff away. So some of those people are entered there.
Yeah.
Boom, science. What's up, Matt Rice? Good seeing you, buddy. So let's discuss a little bit about the differences between these products. I'm going to set the table from the top with all of our diesel additives shortly because I think it indexes everything. Maybe I'll slide these out of the way a little bit. So our main fuel additives that people know during our warmer months, of those of you that don't have to deal with this cold climate, are our Diesel Extreme and Everyday Diesel Treatment. They both have the same 6 components. So you're going to have a cetane booster, a lubricity additive, an injector cleaner, a water demulsifier, a rust inhibitor, and a fuel stabilizer. What we try to do is put everything into the product to treat the poor fuel that we get from the pump, as well as protecting your very expensive fuel system. The difference between diesel extreme and everyday diesel treatment is that these guys in the lab crank up that fuel system injector cleaner literally to like where the EPA stops us. Like we couldn't put any more in there legally without making it an industrial product that you need to have a license to buy. So to make it available to the public, you're not going to find a stronger amount of cleaner as diesel extreme. What EDT is the same formula, the same components, but we dial down that injector cleaner to like a keep clean level to make it affordable to use in every single tank. That way you can keep your lubricity up, you can keep your cetane up in every tank. And then we recommend running a bottle of diesel extreme every 6,000 miles or so to do a deep clean of the system. And keep your lubricity up and everything else up in between with EDT. What EDT Winter Defense is the exact same thing as EDT, but we add a seventh component of the anti-gel. So it's designed to be used in cold climates. We have 2 different dosages on EDT plus Winter Defense, and above 0 degrees Fahrenheit,
Yes.
and a below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the temperature that you're working with. Let's talk a little bit about how an anti-gel works. I think the most important thing to tell people, and again, this time of year when the cold's just starting to hit, we're talking about cloud point that we see in the fuel. Once you hit that cloud point, you better have your anti-gel already in.
Yep.
So you really need to be preventative using your anti-gel, because after the cloud point, you start to lose the functionality of an anti-gel. It loses some of its potency, its power.
Yeah. So, and how that kind of works is the cloud point is those wax crystals already forming. We already went over that. How our additive will interact with that is prevent the wax crystals from conglomerating to make the globs that you saw that I just did with the
junky stuff, right? And that's what happens. It wants to stick together as those, and like I said, the wax kind of is like a snowflake, and it starts to get arms, and then starts to stick to each other. We uniquely use our anti-gel, correct me if I'm wrong, is a wax modifier.
Yes.
And what the wax modifier does is it basically it stops those fingers from sticking to each other. So it prevents, even down at cold temperatures, it prevents it from globbing together and starting to snowball into problems that stick in your fuel filter and stopping your fuel flow, etc.
Yes.
How low can we go with EDT Winter Defense if it's properly treated before the cloud point?
Negative 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that will depend varying on the fuel that you
start with, right?
Yeah. Some places will have more water in it, but we even modify the freezing point of water from 32 degrees Fahrenheit down to 9 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
So we're also interacting with the water.
Right. So what do you call the water modifier? Is that the de-icer?
That would be the de-icer.
And that's I'm going to have a good word for you here. It's like the E something. I got it. Come on, what's the component we use for the de-icer?
Oh gosh.
DPM.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yep.
Okay.
And most people are using the EB formula.
Yes. Yeah, so the DPM is generally just going to perform way better than the EB.
Right.
EB
It lowers the freezing point of water more.
Yeah, so you're looking at a difference between around 12 and 15 degrees Fahrenheit to the 9 of the DPM.
So as we said at the top there, like there's really 2 things you got to worry about. You got to worry about the fuel gelling, the wax and the fuel gelling, but you also got to worry about any water in your system freezing. Well, we actually attack both those too by lowering the freezing point of the water, which is kind of cool. We should do that experiment sometime.
Yeah.
Take like a glass of water and show it at 25 degrees when it's still water, rather than everybody knows it's going to freeze at 32.
Yeah, and the DPM that we use as well is also a better water demulsifier than EB would be.
So it assists the fuel system in separating the water and removing it in the first place. So we actually try to think things through here, like really thoroughly. So as far as on the EDT plus Winter Defense in using an anti-gel, I've never frozen, I've never gelled up, but I also religiously use our products. Again, I switch over in October and I run it all the way through like March just in case. Is there a chance that you still might get a bad tank of fuel? Can a bad tank of fuel affect your anti-gel? Obviously, as we just discussed, if you get water in the system, you might be someone that you're thinking you're being responsible and treating your fuel, but you can still gel up in or freeze your lines up in a way
Yeah,
due to just things outside of your control.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, especially in the colder months, moisture. I mean, snow is moisture, so
Right.
it's always going to be there. It's going to be more in these colder climates. So with using our DPM, or actually, you got me confused when you brought up DPM. When using diesel winter rescue, it's just going to interact with that moisture, prevent the fuel lines from freezing up.
Right.
What was the question again? I forgot your question.
No, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Okay.
But and one of the things I think is unique too. Again, we want to treat the fuel before it's hit the cloud point.
Yeah.
So what's unique is a product like this rescue product that will bring you back from frozen to
Yeah.
a liquid. Would this prevent it?
Not necessarily, no.
And would this bring you back?
No.
Isn't that weird?
No. Preventative versus reactive maintenance.
Literally, they have to be in the right place. Like, so if you waited too long, this is going to do very little to nothing for you to bring you back. If you try to use this as a preventative measure, you're not going to do too well. It's not going to prevent the fuel from gelling, although it can thaw gelled fuel back to science. I don't get that part, but just chemistry.
That being said, though, we also, fill up your filter as much as you can with the diesel winter rescue in a
Right.
gelling event, and put the rest in your tank, because your tank could very well be experiencing a gelling
I
event.
see every time I've had somebody call me that's been gelled up and ask me what to do, I tell them to start off with the tank first.
Yeah.
And so this is why, and I always tell people, if you own a diesel, buy a bottle of diesel winter rescue, throw it in the bed of your truck, throw it in behind your seat, under your glove box, somewhere, forget about it. It's a cheap product. It doesn't cost much.
Mhm.
Do we know what MSRP is on DWR? We'll find that for you. I think I get it here. No, I don't. But it's a very affordable product, and you hope you never use it. You just throw it in the truck and forget about it. The day you ever need to use it, you're going to be very grateful that you have it, and it's very, very cheap insurance.
Mhm.
The irony is I keep a couple bottles in the Hot Shot Secret truck I drive, which is a 2020 6.7 Cummins. And although I've never gelled up, I've go through those bottles every winter because I run into people.
Yep.
They're on the side of the road, or I can see struggling, and I say, hey, here you go. So buy a bottle, throw it in the truck, hope you never need it. You might help out a friend or a stranger sometime, and heaven forbid you need it, at least you have it, and it's an affordable way to get back on the road. Because your other options, if you are stuck on the side of the road, is a tow.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally, and then there's no magic involved. There's no crazy chemistry. They're going to tow your truck into a shop that's nice and warm, and things are just going to thaw out. And when things thaw out, you're going to be able to up and run. But when you're stuck out somewhere, you don't have a choice but to pay for that tow. And usually those are the emergency tows. You're not the only one getting towed that day, because they probably got cold enough that there's a bunch of diesels out there, and you got to wait your turn to get towed in. So you got MSRP on that? $14.99. I feel like an infomercial now. $15 right here. Like, literally, if you ever have to use it, there'll be the most amazing $15 you've ever spent. Like, at that moment, you'll pay $400 for a bottle rather than a $500 tow. So spend the $15 ahead of time, throw it in the truck, hope you never have to use it. But the day that you do use it, you're going to be very happy you did.
There's also another point that we didn't bring up with de-icers and de-gelling products, is you're already in a bad enough situation where you're gelled up on the side of the road. A lot of these products, a lot of the competitor products, have terrible lubricity.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I got data.
Yep. We got papers. We brought papers.
I have data. Yeah, so this is what I say. Like, I'm not allowed to use the cuss words I like to put on here, but basically, let's say if you're gelled up, you're screwed. Don't screw yourself worse. Like, that is not the time to and trust me, I get it. Like, all you want is get this thing running again. Like, you might be having to work that day. You might be heading out of town. It might be something. It's never a good day if you're gelled up, but you will regret in the future if you if you degel the wrong way. And this is especially for people that are really devout about using their fuel hours. They think they're doing a good job. They're taking care of their truck. They might have a CP4 that they're worried about, so they're always adding lubricity. They're doing all the right things. But all that goes out the window when you're gelled up, and it's just like, I'll do anything to get it running again. Don't take that mentality, because there are options like Diesel Winter Rescue. We designed this not just to get you back on the road, but to do it safely, to protect the system. And one of the most important things, like you said, is lubricity. We've talked lubricity for years. We talk about it all the time. Everybody knows how low the lubricity is in our fuel. Everybody knows about the CP4 pumps that are highly susceptible to failure with low lubricity fuel. So when that truck is about to have its hardest start it's ever had, it's got gelled fuel, it's turning over, but it can't get any fuel supply. It is starving for the fuel. The cylinders are cold. It's already going to be a hard start. You're stressing the system out. That's the last time you really want to also push dry fuel through it. So we did some testing, and without getting deep into, we did wear scar testing. We've talked about this a lot. This is, in short, a test that a ball is placed on metal with lubricant there. It is rubbed at a certain rate for a certain amount of time.
1,000 hertz, 1 millimeter back and forth at 1,000 hertz.
There you go. And when that's done, they take the measurement of the gouge out of that ball to see how much metal was gouged out. The better the lubricant, the less void there is in the ball. The deeper that gouge is, the more poor the lubricant is. So after the test, this is actually under a microscope, and the gouge in the ball, and they measure how much volume was gouged out. And so they measure that by microns. So the higher the microns, the more surface area is gouged out, the worse the lubricity is. So we tested a few products on the market, and this is for the diesel winter rescue product. So this is your D-gel. There's not a lot, as we all know, there's a ton of fuel additives out there. The preventative side, there's not a lot of rescue products out there. There's Power Service 911 is probably the most common. It's kind of an industry staple. It's been around for a long time and nearly has a monopoly on the market. And Howes makes a product called Lifeline, which is the same thing. It's also a rescue product. Our version of that is the Diesel Winter Rescue here. So what we did is we took a baseline sample of diesel fuel and put it through the wear scar testing. And so our baseline fuel measured at a 500 micron gouge, if you will. It gouged out 500 microns of metal out of this.
So the U.S. standard required at the pumps is 520. So this fuel is slightly better than the minimum standard.
Minimum standard of U.S. Now, we always talk about the European standard, which is 460 micron, which we prefer. The American engine manufacturer actually agrees with Europe and says, yeah, we would like to see 460 micron. We like to see 300 stuff. We like to see stuff that's really lubricated. But the base fuel we used was a 500, which you can see at the pump. America allows up to a 520 micron, which is, we think, too dry, which is why you need to be adding lubricity. So this is pretty standard fuel that you'd get from the pump. And the coefficient of friction on that, it was a 0.24. You want to explain coefficient of friction?
So it's such a hard thing to describe. It's going to take up like 5 minutes.
Really easily.
Okay. I want to hear your
metal rubbing, just rubbing. Like it's friction. It's in without 5 minute description. There you go. So, and we can measure that coefficient of friction and how much friction. Obviously, as you would presume, the more coefficient of friction, the more wear is happening.
Yeah, there are some situations where the wear is being modified, but the friction is not, or vice versa. In oil side, FR3 is a perfect example of the friction particularly being affected over the wear.
Right.
They're both modified.
We're really trying to move the coefficient.
Yes.
Yep. So baseline fuel 500 with a 2.24 coefficient friction. The Power Service 911 product, we mixed it 50-50 with that same baseline diesel and then put it through the same wear scar testing. It moved the baseline diesel from a 500 wear scar up to a 550 wear scar. So it was a 9% difference that fuel got that much more drier. And now it's out of spec. Since the American standard is 520, just adding that diesel or the Power Service 911, it moved 500 micron fuel to 550. It is now out of spec. It is now too dry to be running. It's certainly not good for a CP4. Again, somebody that's using that 911 product, they're thinking at the time, I just need to get this thing back on the road. But again, that is a rough start. You're just feeding fuel back to the engine. It's a bad time to really send it, dry fuel. And the coefficient of friction on that moved up to a 0.245. So it was a 2% increase on the coefficient of friction as well. The other product we tested was the Howe's Lifeline product. And again, added that to the same baseline fuel that measured at 500. After blending in the Lifeline, we retested, and it moved that fuel from a 500 to a 670 wear scar.
Yeah.
That is dry as heck. So that's a 25% difference. Now we're way out of spec. We are extremely dry. It is not safe to run in a diesel fuel system. It'll run. You'll get running again. The fuel will be flowing, but your wear is going to go through the roof, and it's and that coefficient of friction moved up to 0.37, which is a 35% difference in that. So quite a bit different.
And perspective on that for a 670 wear scar, when we get
it's crazy.
Fuel directly from the refinery that hasn't been touched by fuel jobbers or a pump station, it's at a 600.
Right. It's better than that. So even untreated, refinery fuel is better than that. So again, they're using a solvent to thaw out the fuel, but at the same time, it is making it extremely dry. What we do differently is we use a very high-end solvent that has the same or more power in thawing. However, we add a lot of lubricity to it. We know the system's already under strain, so we really want to make sure that while we're bringing it back to life, we're doing it safely for the system. So we'll put our diesel winter rescue in that same test, added it to the 500 wear scar baseline diesel fuel, and 50-50 blend with diesel winter rescue, put it through a wear scar test, and it dropped it down to a 320.
Yep.
So now, not only are you thawed out and your fuel's flowing again, but you have 320 wear scar fuel running through the system, which is highly lubricated and great for the system, especially when it's in its worst day of its life where it just came back from the dead frozen. So it's something very unique that sets our product apart from the others in this category. And it's like I said, you're already screwed. Don't screw yourself worse. Like you spend a lot of time taking care of these expensive fuel systems. Don't throw it out the window. If you're ever frozen, find a good product like Diesel Winter Rescue that can protect you and run your fuel safely and get your route moving again. Before we kind of wrap up, I did want to say we didn't touch on one thing: how we actually treat this stuff. We kind of glossed over it, but this 32-ounce bottle is basically designed for a light-duty truck. What we recommend is if you're frozen, pour half the bottle in your fuel tank. Generally speaking, depending on situation, ambient temperature, all that, a lot of times that alone will get you going. As you saw our example, even when it was cooled down to -5 degrees, it degelled the frozen fuel that was at -5 degrees pretty much instantly. I mean, maybe a few seconds later, the last chunks kind of melted away. I hate using the term melt. You guys hate when I do that, but you know what I'm saying. Chemically change the wax modifiers to free the flow up.
Well, for that would be melting. So a big difference between the products that you're seeing here. This is wax modification. For a degel or de-icer product, once the problem has already started, your only solution can be dilution. You need to use a product like Diesel Winter Rescue to dilute the gel, resolubilize it, and in a way it is melting it. If it's frozen ice, you're definitely melting it.
Right, ice, yep.
And you mentioned with the wear scars, using harsh solvents. Some of these even use alcohol.
Right.
It's just alcohol in a bottle. That's why it's so hard to ship some of this stuff. When I was looking into it, there's only like 8 competitors in the market.
Well, and
a lot of them are alcohol.
Even kerosene.
Yeah.
And we ran that same test on the kerosene. I actually have it written down here because it's another one. That 500 wear scar with kerosene added moved it up to 640. Again, way too dry to be running. So do it the right way the first time. So again, half the bottle in the fuel tank, and hopefully that gets you running. Crank it over, see if you get the flow. If you're not flowing enough to get started, you generally probably have a clogged fuel filter. And those sticky gels had now hit the filter. Now your day sucks a little bit more, unfortunately. But we can still get you back on the road without an expensive tow. You're going to need to access the fuel filter. You pour the remaining half of your bottle in the fuel filter. We like to do like a 50-50 mix with fuel. I've even known guys that have just soaked it Put
Yeah.
it, have a little bucket, put it in there, and just let the filter soak in there. And you reinstall it. And really, what's kind of unique about most of these modern fuel systems that have returns too, if you can get that fuel filter flowing, you break a little hole through it, start to then the fuel flow itself will help speed up that process and get everything flowing nice and good. So two different ways to attack it. Hopefully you can get it from the tank alone. If not, take off the fuel filter, fill that up, put it back on. You should be running without having to get a tow. Anything else you want to say about winter stuff before we wrap up? We got some news to cover, but
I think I just want to show that wear scar for kerosene by itself, just to show people.
do I have it here?
Yeah, if let's say you're in a gelling event or you decide to throw just straight kerosene in your fuel filter, the wear scar is at an 800. Not sure if you can really see that on the camera, but it's not supposed to take up the whole screen.
Right.
So, I mean, it was so big, I couldn't even measure fully with the microscope. So, just please don't use kerosene.
Don't use kerosene.
And another kind of.
And we talked about kerosene before too, even as a preventative. And we've talked about some old ways of doing things, and people, put kerosene in. It's expensive too. It costs less. I do have a treat rate thing. Using this product, our EDT Winter Defense, you are talking about 6 cents per treated gallon. And I believe it was like 4 or 5 times that if you're using kerosene.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, look at that. My man's got it on the screen. Yep, so the above zero treatment is 6 cents per treated gallon. The below zero is 13 cents per treated gallon. And as you can see, we still fully formulated it. So you're still getting your cetane improver, your moisture dispersant. We have the rust and corrosion here. We're stabilizing. We're doing everything we can. And a 32-ounce bottle compared to some of our competitors out there, we're treating 400 gallons, where their quart bottle's only treating 100. So always look at your treat rates. We're really proud of the fact that we don't add any fillers or components to our products to make the bottles bigger. It's 100% pure additive. If we wanted to put something else in this stuff, we have to take something out. That's the good thing about Hot Shots products is everything in there is designed to do a job.
Yeah, and with EDT versus EDT Plus, you notice the treat rate's slightly higher on the EDT Plus because we included the anti-gel.
With the seventh component, right?
Exactly. So just a little PSA when we're coming into these cold temperatures as well. Make sure you change your fuel filters. Usually a good idea to do that is right when you're about to switch to EDT Plus. Go ahead and just throw a new filter in there at the beginning of the winter season. Drain your fuel water separator. Some of them are built into the filter.
Right.
Just make sure you do all that at the beginning of the season.
Good time to do it. Good time to do some winter cleaning before it gets bad. So if you have any other questions about these winter products, feel free to post them. We'll follow up. Social media will follow up on any questions post there. Feel free to call in. We love to answer questions here. Hope you're not calling us from the side of the road gelled up, but we can help you out if you are. So, post up and we'll select somebody to win some of this stuff today. But before we go, let's cover some Hot Shot Secret news.
Yeah.
Starting with new product. We are excited to announce that today, our red diamond, not our green diamond, not our blue diamond, not our black, but our red diamond passenger car motor oil is now available in 5-quart bottles. We released this just a little bit ago to our dealer network exclusively in the 5-gallon and the 55-gallon drums. So this is a dealer exclusive. If you want to get your hands on this, then find a dealer. You're not going to be able to find this on our website, right? We're not selling the website. You're not going to see this in retail. The only people that have this product is the Hot Shot Secret Dealer Network. You can go onto our website, click the button on top that says where to buy. You can punch in your zip code, and you can find a local independent dealer near you. And if they're not stocking it, say, hey guys, didn't you see Hot Shots has red diamond now? I want some of that stuff. So this is coming in a 020, 5W20, and a 5W30. So we're covering most of all these gas applications now. So for all of you that think we're diesel only, we've got the gas side covered too. And now we have it's a Group 3 synthetic. We'll do a whole episode on the red diamond at a time, but it's a Group 3 synthetic. It's infused with our FR3, of course. Boom, and there's a new 5-quart, which is a new bottle for us because normally we are dealing with 4-quart gallons, on the diesel side of things, but there's so many common 5-quart passenger cars that we have a new bottle now. So as an example of our 020. So gas folks are not even just our gas folks. Most of our diesel folks have a gas car too.
Yeah.
Studies have shown. So now you can get our oil and everything in the driveway instead of just your diesel application of it. So we're really excited about that. Contact your local dealer. Tell them to bring it in stock and get you some today.
A good note for this too, it's API SP, newest spec, so that is also for hybrid vehicles as well.
Ah, didn't know that.
Yeah, 020 is usually what they're using, if not a 016. So yeah, even for the new hybrid engines.
Are the hybrids mainly 020s?
Yeah, usually 020, maybe a 016. I know the new Priuses are dabbling with a 0W8.
And it meets the Dexos 1 Gen 3 spec.
Yep.
Awesome. So, and that's, you can see on the back of this ball, there's a lot of specs on this. So if you have any questions, if it's applicable to your vehicle, give us a call. Check out our website. Do we have this on the website? It's not for sale?
No, just the dealer. Find a local dealer.
But we don't have any information on the website yet? We do. Okay, so we got some information on the website, but you can't buy it. Go find one of our dealers to buy it. So really excited about that. Long in the waiting. People have asked for years for it. It's out now, folks. Get your red diamond. Next up, Steve Summers. We always like to give a shout out to the Steve Summers Overnight Drive, which is live from the Hot Shot Seeker Studios every night, midnight to 5 during the week. Also streaming on Facebook and Rumble. You can get all the details of the show at overnightdriveradio.com. Shout out to our guy, Steve Summers, keeping those truckers awake overnight every night. And we're going to do some dealer shout outs too, it looks like.
Yeah. So we're going to thank some dealers. Dave Woolston, he's the owner of Woolston Construction in Bordentown, New Jersey. He's been using our additives for a while now, using it for years. And he's advertising on Facebook. In 2 weeks, he has sold 3,000 in our product.
Nice. Good start. That's always a good way to get going. So check out Woolston Construction over there in Jersey. Thanks for helping get our products out to those people. So anybody in New Jersey, hit up Dave if you want some of that red diamond. Say you heard about it, and you need to go through Dave for that stuff. So
and it's getting pretty cold over there as well. So EDT plus.
Yeah, throw it both in there. Let's see, retail. What's going on in retail world? We got some deals going on. Looks like O'Reilly's. O'Reilly's. Buy 2 EDT plus winter defense 16-ounce squeeze for $30 until the 26th. So you got a few more days. So this promo is just ending up here. So it's that time of year. It's the product we just talked about. This is the product you need to use so you don't have to use the rescue product. But you can get 2 16-ounce squeezes for $30 for a few more days here at O'Reilly's. And then over at AutoZone, looks like they got FR3 on sale. The 16-ounce bottle of FR3 is $3 off. And my little favorites, the little guys, the 4-ounce EDT bottles. You can grab 2 of them for $8 at AutoZone. Pretty much through the end of the year here, it looks like. Yep, through December 30th. So for the remainder of the month and all through December, you can grab a couple of those little bullets, I call them. I like them because I stock my doors with those little guys, and it just makes filling up so easy where we just I kind of dump one in and toss it. So, and if you buy the bigger stuff, you can buy a gallon from us, go to AutoZone, grab a couple of those 4-ounce bottles, and just keep refilling your 4-ounce bottles, and you don't have to carry around a lot of stuff in the truck.
Exactly.
That's how I like to do it. How about Web World? What's going on in web sales?
So we have a 10% off 2-step fuel pack. That's Diesel Extreme and EDT. If you use the code 2STEP24, all caps, until 11/28. And then we also have a $60 Diesel Saver kits, and that runs through the 22nd.
Cool. Give Web some love. And we encourage you to stay in the loop with us. It's the easiest way to do that is to go to hotshotseeker.com/sign up, and you can pop in your email there. You'll get sales news, blogs. We do a lot of cool. We're wrapping up the motorsports season here. We'd like to keep you in tune with all of our racers and what's going on. News and fun stuff, new products you might have known about the Red Diamond before today if you were subscribed to that, because we might have leaked that out a little bit ago. So that's how you stay in tune with us. And follow us on social media for what everybody's asking about, the upcoming Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. So I think next time we're on, we'll probably have a different web sale, and it probably might be related to that. So that's coming Next week, we won't be on it before next week. So stay tuned. That's why you need to sign up. Sign up, and that way you'll be notified ahead of time. Upcoming events, last one of the year, and then Kyle goes and hides for a little while because
hibernation.
I'm tired. It's been a long season, but we will be at PRI December 12th through 14th in Indianapolis. We're really excited about it. We have a new booth this year. People have kind of got used to where we are. We're close, but we're just a few rows down, and we're right on the end cap now. 3701, Matt?
3701.
3701. So 3701 is the new booth number. It's literally like the booth that you're walking in that yellow hall door, like you're going to run right into our booth. And we haven't announced it yet, but since we're not going to be on before, I think, I'm going to tell you right now. No, I'm not. I'm going to let them figure it out.
Come stop by.
We're gonna have a cool truck in the booth. It is one of the latest trucks in the diesel motorsport scene that really hasn't been seen yet, and we'll be kind of unveiling that in our booth. So come over, see us in PRI booth 3701. We're also going to have, I think, over 25 people signing autographs throughout the 3 days. So a lot of our sponsored pullers, our sponsored drag racers. We have some special guests this year that I won't tease you about either that will be in our booth signing. Again, we're having our buddies from Battle Scarred Motorsports come up. They'll be out there. I encourage all you guys to support what they do. We're going to give them a lift up here at PRI, and hopefully they can gather some more sponsors to support their cause, which we love. We love what they do. So come see us at PRI, December 12th to the 14th in Indy, and as we wrap up our season, and then get ready for 2025 because we got a busy one ahead. There's going to be some really cool stuff going on, and I think you're gonna find out about some of that stuff at PRI. So stay tuned. We got some really cool stuff coming there.
Cool.
Anything you got before we wrap up?
No, are we wanting to pick someone for?
Are we picking someone now, or are you doing it later? You gonna do a random one off the thing? Yeah, they put it in a generator or whatever and pick somebody. So,
Cool.
But you can still comment. Comment to get your name in for some Diesel Winter Rescue, and you can be the hero to someone that's stuck on the side of the road. So, until next time, make sure you like and share this stuff. Follow all our what we got: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. We got Pinterest. Pinterest. Shout out to my man Matt Rice. But until next time, have a great week. Stay cool out there. Don't freeze. Use your product, and we'll see you soon.